grace. Thank you for mercy. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for wisdom. Thank you for parents. Thank you for love. Thank you for kindness. Thank you for humility. Thank you for peace. Thank you for prosperity. Say thank you in advance for what's already yours. It's how I live my life. That's why I am, one of the reasons why I am today. Say thank you in advance for what is already yours.
Thank you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Man Cave. We are Ryan and Corey. You listen to the Much About Nothing podcast, the show where we give expert takes, good-hearted debates. We talk ball and anything and everything else. Today, we talking anything and everything else. We talking what is culture. If you got something to say, put it in the comments. We want to hear it. If you're new to the pod, greetings. Hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, smash that bell. If you're already part of the fam, welcome back. Please like, share, and comment. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Corey, let's get into it.
Hey, how y'all doing this evening? Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for all dedicating your time, your precious time to watching us talk about things that we like to talk about. This is something that we naturally do, and we like for y'all to tune in and watch us do it. So the topic of the day is, what is culture? How do you define it? What do you think it is? We want to hear from you. Get your opinion on what is culture. I believe a lot of things are objective. No, I think subjective is the word that I want to use. Subjective. It's your opinion on what this word means to you. Everybody has different definitions. I want to know yours. So first, Mr. Hamp, what is
And
your
can you give us the
definition?
Webster? Can you give us the Webster's definition first? Let's see what.
All right. So I have the Webster first definition is, I like the second part better, but the first, number one, is a noun. The arts and other manifestations of human intellectual achievement regarding collectively. But the second one is probably the best one to me. The customs, arts, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or other social groups, like Caribbean culture, black culture, white culture, whatever you want to, a people. It's their arts, their culture, how they tend to behave, all those things. Everything go together. I mean, that's my gist of the Webster's definition. Well, that's
Mm,
Wikipedia. I think. No, that's Oxford language.
okay.
Mm.
All right. So culture.
Culture. What is culture?
Mm, okay. So with the definition, um, you got. Oh man, how I want to go about this. All right. So we talk culture, and you and I we do this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It depends on the context. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you want to talk about a race of people,
Mm-hmm.
culture kind of means a thing. You want to talk about the workplace, culture kind of means a thing. If you want to talk even smaller groups inside your house, your family, there's a family culture that you have. It all means a thing. Um, but I really hate the word black culture. Man, I
Mm-hmm.
hate that. Oh, I hate that. But
Mm-hmm.
what's your take? What you got on it?
I do hate the word black culture, but I think culture is the embodiment of our history, who we are as a people, where we came from, everything, all our culture, the things that we done picked up from the time of I think Denzel said it best, the hot comb on the hair. I mean, anybody that knows anything about a hot comb, I don't know, y'all. I actually have had I had real long hair back in the day. My mama didn't put a hot comb on my hair. I ain't had that joint hit the back of the neck. I know what it feels like. That's something that's like very, very unique to black people. And that's part of our culture. If you mention that to another people, they might not even know what you're talking about. These are certain things, that activities that we take place in. A
And
big part of black culture is like
I
playing
don't think that's a
spades. Like
culture.
these are things you don't think it's a culture.
I think that's
I
an
think it's
experience, man. Like I think
yeah,
that's a
and I think black experience is a part of black culture. I think all of these things, what we take place in at the family barbecue, these are things of black culture. Now, all these good, the bad, the ugly, all of these things represent black culture. I think that's all a big part of it, and it cannot be excluded or diluted in any kind of way. And it's just a part of black culture. I mean, if you want to say it, I mean, let's say Asian culture. We know what Asian culture is. It's all the history of Asian culture or Chinese culture in a way. Don't let's not say Asian because that's too vast of a subject. Let's say Chinese culture. Uh, Chinese culture is, I mean, they take place. You can look at that and know what it is by the way it looks. And black culture is American culture, African American culture would be.
How
So
long
yeah, I
does it?
get what you're saying. You're saying black culture because black can represent so many different people.
Okay, how about this, right?
African American.
All right, so let's go here with it, right? How long does it take to build culture?
How long does it take to build culture?
Yeah, tap that mic.
Oh my bad, man. I told you I
Nah,
got to
you
get that
good.
new. Yeah,
All right,
I got to
so
get a
you
new.
said how long does it take to build culture?
Ah, man, hard to say. Hard to say. I think culture is like I agree with Aaron Darden. He's saying black experience is black culture. I think it reaches a point of time where it's shared enough. Your experience is shared enough, and it's shown enough. Like when you say American culture, we're the only people that fire fireworks on 4th of July, right? We're not the only people that fire fireworks, but particularly on this day of 4th of July, we go out and we shoot fireworks. And that's very, very select to American people, right? So enough people start. I'm pretty sure the first person they probably shot a firework in the air and didn't think nothing of it. Next year came around, they did it, and then it branched out to be a United States phenomenon. Maybe not a worldwide phenomenon, but a United States phenomenon. And I believe when that happened, it became a part of American culture. So whenever the first black person put the hot comb on the head, maybe he got that from somebody else. Maybe it was something that came from someone. But eventually it started going along, started passing along. Hey man, this is what you can do to do this. This is what you can, and it passed along so wide and so vast that several people started doing it in our communities, and it became black culture. It's something that we do. Other
Okay,
people might do it, but not at the level that we do
but my question is, how
it.
long does it take for it to be culture?
Chitterlings and pig feet. That is not black culture though. That come. I'm gonna talk about that. That comes from somewhere. That comes from somewhere, and we'll get into that later when we talk about
I
other
know what you're gonna
forms of
say.
bad culture.
You're gonna say slave culture, right?
Nah, it's not.
Okay.
It's misrepresented that comes from slave culture.
Okay.
That where did they get it from? They just picked it up and say, "Yo, we gonna start eating chitlins." Where that word come from? And
Pig
that's what I'm
guts.
saying. Things, yeah, it's pig guts, but the word chitterlings, that word comes from a place, and it does not derive from slavery.
Mm, okay.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that later. 'Cause I'll make a point with it because it comes from a
Okay.
certain
So,
thing.
all right. So, like, so what Kevin says, Kevin said in his wife's culture, Women's Day is celebrated like Mother's Day. Okay. My question is, how long does it take to be a part of culture? How long does it take?
I don't know.
Is it something that I create? Like, is it something
I
that I
don't
do
think
every
it's
day?
just it could be the hamp culture. You can create your own culture, and it be your culture specific to you.
But when you associate it with, let's get into the next. Let's go through the topic, man. What's the first
All
topic?
right, all
Let's get
right.
into it.
The first topic will be well. The first topic was what is culture. I just didn't put the thumbnail up there. I mean, the lower
Okay.
third. What is black culture?
Okay.
I
All
think
right.
that's the biggest thing of it. What do y'all
Okay.
think black culture is?
Black culture is a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle standard made of assumptions about the black identity, often used successfully by marketers, studio heads, fashion brands, music
Mm.
labels, in order to profit. That's my opinion of what I think black culture is. I think
It's an interesting thing. So you don't think black people have a select thing that's different than everybody else? You don't think we're different by the way we move, the way we talk, the way we things we
okay,
participate in?
okay, all right.
Do
So
you
let's
think more groups? If I said it was spades going on. Out of all the people, and it's a lot of people that play spades. What culture, what particular people do you think play spades the most? My
okay,
wife in the back joining in, talking about black people. I gotta close this door. You ain't hear that, did
yeah, but
you?
hear me out, Corey. All right.
You all right, baby?
We are limited. We are limited to our experiences, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you say like your experience with the black culture, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you saying that, you really have to go with your experience with the people that you know. Because
Mm-hmm.
outside of that, if you're talking about what you see on social media, if you're talking about what you see on TV, if you're talking about what you hear on the radio, you have
Mm-hmm.
no control over that. And most of the time, the people that are controlling those things aren't even black people.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that.
So really, when you say black culture, what exactly is it? Are you
Mm.
saying when I go to Hamp House they play spades?
I'm saying, as a group of black people, we participate in certain activities as a culture, as a people. You saying that we're no different at all? We do the same thing everybody else do. Do you think us as a race, we do the same thing as everybody else? If it's anything that's unique to us, that's black culture.
Okay,
That's
all
what
right.
I'm saying. Anything that's unique to us.
This is what I'm gonna say to you, Corey.
Let's say black culture is going through slavery. Like
Okay,
slavery, that's unique to us.
that's trauma culture. But
All
let's.
right, you can say that. We
All right,
survived it though, right?
okay, all right. So listen,
All right.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say black people have as much culture as the kids in my house have culture,
Mm.
right? Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure they got things that they like to do, but I pretty much control what they can put on their TV. I control what they can watch. I control what's acceptable to be said. I control what you can do. I control what is cool, what is not cool. I control pretty much what clothes they choose from. Like black people as a whole have as much culture as the children in my house have culture. What are my kids' culture? What is it?
Well, let me ask you this: do you believe there is a such thing as culture anywhere in the world, like African culture? Do you believe Africans
Yeah,
have culture?
yeah.
So,
Because I think
so that how
overall,
long did they develop culture? Because
well,
eventually, how did they develop what they call African culture? Then,
okay. So this is what I'm gonna say to you.
all right.
All right. So I think that when you have customs, when you have traditions, or you have those types of things, hear me out. Hear me out. When you have those things that develop organically over time, right? These are things that my parents passed, their parents passed. This is what we do. This is a coming of age that you do this. This is all these types of things. When it comes to black culture, in my opinion, everything that we have experienced as African Americans, now put those two words together,
Mm-hmm.
African Americans, you know, by all accounts, your ancestors came over here in bondage
Mm-hmm.
with nothing but what was on their backs
Mm-hmm.
and what was in their mind. So, like, really, when it comes down to it, like, everything that was given to them at that point is, I would imagine, it's just American culture at this point. That's really what it is. It's American culture.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's how I feel about it.
I
Like,
agree. I think it's part of everything. So you have what they call subculture. So right, a culture group within a larger culture often having the beliefs or interests at a variance with those of the larger group. So you have subcultures. So American culture, then you have African American culture. So it does adopt certain points of American culture, but I do think we are unique. We don't just take like let's say this Thanksgiving, right? Let's say what's another holiday? Not Thanksgiving, okay? Everybody cook the same things on Thanksgiving. But you would say we celebrate holidays. Like everybody can have a cookout, but what we cook at our cookout is different than other people cook at their cookout. Is it way we prepare our foods? Everything in, even though we might fix the same thing, that's like chicken. Chicken is universal, but we make chicken different than everybody else. It's just the what we do is different. I'm not
but do
saying that.
we?
All right,
I'm saying though,
there's no
but do
difference.
we though? But do
Is
we?
I think it is such thing as black subculture. I think most people would agree that we are different. You think we're nothing? We don't have any culture. We're just out here led astray. We don't do anything alike. We
Man,
just all unique individuals. We're the only people that are we. I believe yes, our culture was taken away during slavery, but I think you put something in place of that. You start building culture over time. You're
yeah.
gonna do and find similarities within a group. Because at the end of the day, we're together so long, we experience certain things different than everybody else.
Okay,
and we develop certain things.
so do you think they reacquired the culture that was stripped from them?
No, no, I
Okay,
think they took
so
other things and developed it in different ways. Other things they took American pieces and put a little thing on it and shake it the way they want to shake it and created their own. You could take different parts. It's like building a soup. You got different things and different ingredients. And so you can't redo an apple. You'll take this from this way and put this in here and make a whole new thing. You get what I'm saying? Take parts of something. But it ain't like we gotta adopt the whole American culture to create African American culture. We take so many different parts from different things and make it our own unique thing.
mm,
If that's what I'm saying. Ours, but I do think there's African American culture.
mm,
Do I think it's absent or everything else? I don't think any culture. I think I think that's every single culture in existence of time. I think if you look at American culture, most of that is built from British culture because they came overseas from Britain. So most of those are developed. American culture, like everything is developed through a small piece of something else. We can't say that it just came from one thing.
okay. So AD he constantly at this thing. So he want to know, what does American culture have? I was about to ask Corey that. I was
Mhm.
about to ask because if you okay, let's just say, then is there such thing as white culture? What is white culture?
Nah. And
No, no, I'm asking a serious question because if there's black culture, there has to be white culture.
now that's why I said earlier I don't believe it's black because then we can say like African people
Eh,
or
Okay,
any white person. I said that's more vast, and I meant to say African American culture because a race does not particularly have a culture. So I want to say, well, a race like Jewish people have a culture. So a race isn't African Americans, if you want to call that a race, but black, a color of people does not have a culture. A color does, but a race of people does. That's what I mean.
okay,
Yeah. So I believe American, if you want to say that, like I believe we're American. I look at myself as American. So I do partic- pa- participate in American culture, like Thanksgiving, um, 4th of July. Where I mean,
okay,
I believe American culture is mostly based on Judeo-Christian values, but that has been branched out more
okay.
as we go away from that.
So this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna answer AD's question, right? So he said, "What is culture?" Because this is my opinion. I think that at a point, it's not about African American. It's not about white. I think that we bond through experience.
Mm,
So when you talk about like different cultures, like there is a hood culture. Like if you hood, whether you are white, black, Hispanic, whatever. Let's just use a block in Harlem, right? Like if these guys grew up in the same type of vicinity, they would develop a culture there. It has nothing to do with their race because a lot of times even these if you put it on racing, you're pretty much talking about stereotypes. Like and so, I mean, let's see here. Give me something. Like I said, that's the reason why I asked the question. Like, what is white culture?
mm. Now
Like what
I,
exactly is
I
it?
agree with what Aaron Donald said. White is a color; it's not a culture.
Okay, so when you say black, so we're getting rid of black,
Mhm.
we're getting rid of white. Okay,
Yeah, I don't think I told you. I don't. I misspoke there when I
okay,
named colors, but what I mean more specifically is a race like African American culture.
okay.
That's what I
So
mean.
African American. So
White
what?
American culture or something like
Okay,
that.
all right. So what is white American culture then? What is that?
Mm. All right, so a part of white American culture would be, I say, some they do is drive big trucks and put big wheels and lifted trucks. That's probably part of that culture of
Is
hillbilly
that a
culture
cult?
of cowboy culture, all that stuff. That's part of that culture, probably.
Okay, you say
I would say.
cowboy culture. You say cowboy culture.
Yeah, but I think black people be in cowboy culture too. So
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Like if you grow up that way, then that's what it is.
Hmm.
Now, again, so
Raisins and potato salad.
man, listen, like that's like so if you grow up a certain so like
Yeah.
I think a lot of times they justify stuff like you want to tell me you want to see me get upset. I hate when McDonald's used to have like those McRib commercials, and it's always a black guy eating a McRib sandwich or something like that. I actually don't even like the taste of the McRib sandwich. That's not a cultural thing. It's not. Like it's to sit here and say that. I'm pretty sure that okay, just give me something that you say that all but like the hot come. I don't think that's a. I think that's more of an experience. Like
Yeah, I think
it's more of
culture
an
is built
experience.
off our experience. I think you even said that. What Tip says that religion guide our culture. I don't think it's religion specifically. I think it's belief. Any belief that's shared would guide the culture. Because I think a person can be an atheist and build a culture. I think it's called secularism. If I'm not mistaken, secularism is atheist or agnostic unbelievers build cultures. They have cultures too. So it's religion, regardless. If we are a group of people that share the same belief, we will start our culture regardless. We stick around each other. We're gonna have certain habits and certain things that we do that's different than everybody else just because we do it. But I do believe like Christianity could be considered a culture in itself because we have different things that we do different than everybody else. But there's so many
Is
different. It's so
okay.
different.
Let's talk about. All right. So is rap music? Is that a culture?
I think hip hop is a culture, most definitely, 100%.
Hip hop is a culture. Okay.
If
What
we
about?
Google it, I'm pretty sure we can Google hip hop culture and something gonna pop up.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what was
So
before
you
hip
don't
hop?
subscribe to it
No, I'm
before?
asking you. I'm asking you. Does heavy metal have culture? Have culture?
Yeah, I would
Does it
agree.
have
Heavy
heavy metal?
metal. Yeah, I
Does
believe
country have
country.
culture?
I think culture is a lot pushed by music. I think most people get together and push their music, and people listen to the music, and then they start taking on the experiences and doing the same things that the people in the music do. I think I think music is very very influential. I'm not a person that believes that music does not have some kind of controlling aspect to it. I didn't seen Nuck If You Buck come on in the club and seen the movements change. I have seen m- music change people's personalities and the way they move and the way they behavior. You don't think music at the end of the day, you don't feel that when you play music? You don't
Yeah,
think,
I,
oh,
I,
I,
I, I do. I do. My
mhm,
next question is,
mhm.
like when you talk about culture, what preceded the hip hop culture?
What we perceive the hip hop culture at that time, I would say soul and jazz. I think we were predominantly what soul and jazz music at that time. Yeah, soul and
Okay.
jazz.
Okay. So, all right. So, out of that culture, what came out of that culture?
What came out of that culture? What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Did
Explain.
that influence people?
Yeah, I believe that. At the end of the day, I think people have a culture and then they make music and that builds upon it. I think people within that culture make the music and that's what they portraying their culture through music. So like I don't believe country music came out and then a bunch of country people started coming from everywhere. I believe country people started making music, like bluegrass people started making music. It's a certain people from a certain region started making their music and it was specific to them. And people listening to that and they might have started liking it and going to that.
Mm. Okay. So, like, the reason why I bring it up is I want you to think about this, right? So we talked about. I said my
Mm,
personal opinion. We disagree. Um, I think that like I
mm.
said, like my kids got as much culture as I give them, right?
I would, yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
And I would beg to think that the same way happens in your house with your children, right?
Hmm.
Okay. And so the question is, would you allow would you allow your daughter to make music for her younger brother that calls him the N word over and over and over again, and you play it over and over and over again, and it has
Mm-mm.
violence on it over
No,
and over and over again,
no.
and then allow me from the outside to come in and tell you, well, that's the culture because that's what's going on in your house.
Mm,
Like see, and so like it's a very slippery slope when it comes down to it. Like so, for me, I do believe this, right? Because I'm scrolling through TikTok and I'm listening, and even the hip hop music. It's not that my black ears are the only ones that like certain songs.
No, I don't
It's
think hip
not.
hop. I don't
It's
think hip
not.
hop is black culture. I think hip hop is its culture itself, and anybody that listen to it. And I would agree. I think hip hop is destructive, regardless whoever listens to it, white, black, Chinese, anything, Mexicans, Puerto Rican, Latino.
Yeah.
I don't
Like
care who it is.
TikTok is showing you if you look at the thumbnails of the faces and the amount of likes. Like hip hop culture ain't got it's I think we ought to distance ourselves from it. That's what I'm thinking.
Mm,
I'm thinking there's hip hop, like I think there's hip hop, and like I am unsure. I don't know enough to say what black culture is. I know about the black people that I deal with. I know about the other races of people that I deal with. Like I know them, and to be honest with you, we have more in common. We have more in common than we don't have common because those are the people that I deal with, and I've been dealing with them for a long time. Like I hate to use the term that one of my best friends is white, but it's true. Like, but it's because our experiences are the same.
mm,
It's not
mm,
a. It's not a. I guess, and I would say that we probably have the same type of culture, and it has nothing to do with race. It has the fact
mhm.
to do with that we were raised the same type of way. We went
In the
into the
military.
military.
Hmm.
We worked the same type of jobs. We
Hmm.
both like sports. What culture does that fall in?
Well, I think exactly what you said. I think the biggest thing is the military thing because it's very, very unique. And you probably would agree to this, Ham. When you go in the military, you have to adopt their culture. So I believe the problem with America, the hardest problem in America, that we have so many different cultures instead of subscribing to one. Because at the end of the day, I believe us as a people, to be a nation, we have to agree on things. How can two walk together unless they be agreed? This is at the end of the day, we can't have this podcast unless me and Hamp agree on something. We can't be at odds. I know most of y'all see us argue most of the time, but most of the time we agree on a lot of things. I do think
Yeah.
it's particular things that we do divide, but most things we agree on out of everything, but or we wouldn't be able to do this. So I think hip hop culture is derived from redneck culture. Really, the truth of it is it's more of a southern redneck thing that been passed along down the way. And this redneck thing came from, like, you can trace back the chitlins. The word chitlins come from a British rednecks. They brung that over to the southern South when they came over, and that just got adopted there. Like, if you trace the word chitlins and most of these southern words that are used as coming from rednecks, then you get black people that adopt that redneck culture, and it's people that do not. And I just, that's why most of the time you hear me talk about culture when people say I think it's a black thing. No, I say redneck is a bad culture, just like hip hop culture, and I believe they're one and the same. I just think it has progressed to hip hop. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, this is how I. All right, so this is what I would say about hip hop music. Hip hop music is no different than anything else in the world.
Hmm.
People typically do what they're incentivized to do,
Hmm.
right? So if I am a struggling person and I say, you know what, I would like to get paid. I don't want to be a mechanic. I don't want to do this. I want to get paid by my words. And if this is what is paying, this is what they're talking about. Like, not to even just to deviate and go back into the sports thing. I'm gonna tell you this John Morant thing. It bothers me a whole lot.
It does me too.
It bothers me a whole lot because I sit here and I think, what makes him think that this is cool? Because I mean, he is doubling down on his ignorance. Like, I mean, now he's in a club with a 22 Taurus. like, like, obviously, this is a guy who has never shot a gun because if he has a 22 Taurus, he knows that's probably not the move. But this is what we're incentivized. This is what is
Hmm.
put in front of you over and over and over and over and over again. If you decide you want to be a rapper, this is what you need to rap about to get paid. Like, I don't see Christian rappers selling out stadiums like this.
Mm-mm.
Like so the question is, do you want to be a struggling artist or do you want to talk about the trap? Even if you never lived in the trap.
Mm-hmm. But I think that's a equivalent to being. I think Mr. Waterman, we got the same soul out there. She typing everything that I'm thinking when I hear this, Joe. It's like everything she says and every comment she has is the same thing that I would agree with. So it's okay. I don't think hip hop is a problem when you have two adults in the household that's gonna try to, what I'm saying, guide that child the right way. But the problem is 70% of the kids in are single parent household and the streets are raising them. So when you let a culture of hip hop raise a child, they might not understand the difference. So I go back to that analogy you made with a child. If your child in your household, of course you want to say shut that mess off. Don't play that. But when somebody allowing this to keep fed into her ears, then we got a bigger problem. But at the end of the day, I I get what you're saying about the allowance of this stuff, but I think it's other bad music that's allowed to play too. I don't like hardcore metal. I think hardcore metal is just as
Yeah.
destructive as hip hop,
Yeah,
but it is
again,
played.
Kevin, 100% correct. Yeah, T was there. Yeah,
And that's
T.
the same argument I always hear. Like when I say single parent households, where LeBron became rich, I'm doing a percentage wise.
Okay.
Percentage. The numbers are not wrong. If you have a two-parent household, you are more likely to be successful in life. Now you can say it, sure, that's people that come from single parent households that are good, but I'm saying that all right,
Man,
you
this
can say
conversation
that.
is
I'm not
crazy.
saying that single parent households are destined to be go to jail and all this. No, by numbers and statistics, you are more likely to go to jail if you're raised in a single parent household. You're more likely to commit suicide, more likely to drop out of school, more than like these are the numbers. You can argue with it and say,
Okay.
and most people argue with the numbers. But hey, listen here, argue with the numbers all you want. I'm not saying that you can't, you're destined for hell and destruction if you come from single
okay.
parent household.
But
No, you can
I know you ain't saying that. That's what Deion Sanders said. But
Deion said that for real.
yeah, that was Deion said. He
No
said something
shot.
similar. Yeah, he said something similar to that. But listen, all right.
Dang.
So check this out, right? When it comes to culture, right? All right, this is how I feel about it. I feel like most places when they use the term culture and they try to create cultures, what they're really trying to say to you is, I am trying to manipulate you into this mold. Like even if you use the military as an example, right? Because I'm gonna tell you, it's a lot of things that are very akin to. I don't even want to go down that road, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you this. Once you get there, you go down there with the clothes on your back, right? Now there is a when you get down there, there's a threat of verbal assault more than there is physical assault, but there's always a threat of assault there. It is constant labor, it's constant work, it's constant stripping you down of the words that you need. They give you a different language. Everything is in code. Everything they give you a new thing to learn and a new thing to do every day. They you request permission to speak. You are taught how to walk. You're taught how to talk. You're taught when to use the bathroom. You're taught how to even shower. Anything you even taught how to eat, right? So, like everything in there, and at the end of the day, the goal is to get you to love God, country, and core, right?
Yeah.
And then you have what you call the military culture, is what you call it. All right, the subculture is there's a Marine Corps culture, there's a Air Force culture, there's all these are subcultures in it. But the idea for the military idea, there's a military culture, right?
Yeah.
A culture of sacrifice, God, country.
There's certain things if you go around a military person and I'm there, y'all gonna gravitate together a lot more than me because y'all have certain things that I cannot participate. I can't understand or be a part of. I don't I don't know that.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
here we go with this, right? I can tell you this. One thing I never told you about, Mr. K Harrison, right? This dude is, man. I'm gonna tell you, we've been friends for a long time. This guy has done something that I don't think that most people have. They meet people in their lives that are willing to do this. Um, this guy volunteered to stay in a combat zone with me because I wasn't ready to go home.
Whew,
That's what I'm saying, like right, like you
that's a
don't get
different
friends
kind.
like that. But yeah, that's
Whew.
Kevin. But I'm gonna tell you, like I'm gonna tell you something about when you talk about music. I remember, I remember being getting ready to go out on a convoy, and everybody's loading up their weapons, getting their vests and stuff together, making sure they got all their gear, getting their ammunition passed out, all that type of stuff. And in the background, there's a bunch of guys playing "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor," and it's almost like a, I don't know if you ever heard the song, but the beat,
Mhm,
it's the 808s, and it
mhm,
evokes something.
mhm,
And there's a lot of people in there talking about, I wish somebody would,
mhm,
right? So now you have, again, in this culture that you talk about, this word culture, because I don't know any other word to use, you have a bunch of guys that are they're looking for something to pop off,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
And nobody's stopping that music from being played because
mhm,
that's the culture, right?
mhm,
There wasn't going to be any music about, um, let's have peace,
mhm,
let's not make war.
mhm.
I'm gonna tell you a good Google. This is a good Google search when you get time. Google the songs that were not allowed to be played on the radio on 9/12.
On 9/12, we mean.
After 9/11,
Mhm,
Google the songs after we had the incident of 9/11. The songs that were not allowed to be played on the radio on 9/12,
mhm,
and that tells you right there. There's a manipulation of culture.
mhm.
Like when you start to see those things, you start to understand. So that's the reason why I say, my opinion, these culture things,
See,
it's a
I would agree
farce.
that I think
It's a
at the
farce.
end of the day, I think it's a lot of bad culture, but there's good culture too. I think it's things that can derive this. At the end of the day, if it's positive and it's peaceful, I think that's good culture. So if you want to say let the bodies hit the flow, I think that's a bad. That'll be bad culture. That'll fall into the realm of bad culture. You get what I'm saying? So I
Okay.
mean, it's not. I don't think it's just. I think hip hop culture is bad culture. We can talk about. We can talk about several bad cultures. But at the end of the day, I believe us as black people need to push towards uh that the bodies hit the floor. Sounds really valid. Yes, it does. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
like I said, like that's part of my mental trauma that I think about from time to time, man.
For real, for real.
Seriously, seriously. I was in a car one day and I was driving. And I was on Poston Boulevard, and that song came on, and it was
Mhm.
probably some 17-year-old lighter skinned kids, and I was, and they were playing it, and they was really vibing to it, and I was just looking over at them like, you don't even know. Like you don't even know.
You don't even know what that joke, what they really doing in this joke.
You don't
But
even know.
the truth is, I mean, I know this throughout my life, and I did multiple, several types of drugs. But during the time, whatever drug I was doing, tend to be what type of music I was listening to. Like when I was popping pills, I would listen to Gucci Man and Lil Boosie, man. You couldn't tell me nothing. I'm pumping that joint, and whatever music I was listening to, that's what they was talking about in that song. When I'm smoking, they talking about smoking in the song, and I'm listening to somebody that's also experiencing the experiences I'm doing, and this is pushing it. So I don't know, maybe I'm gravitating towards it, or maybe it's grabbing towards me. But I think definitely, if it becomes popular, kids kids themselves want to be popular,
Mm.
so they're gonna try to do the same things they see.
Who
Because at
controls
the end of the day,
popular? Who controls
popularity.
popular? Yeah,
I
who?
think people, you say it's the media. I think the media wants to make money. So if
Okay.
they see that's what people want, they're going to give the people what they want. If people like hip hop, they're going to push that to make money. It's just like anything. They do not care. At the end of the day, if I control a corporation, most people in corporation, not me per se, but most corporations, they care about the bottom dollar. They don't care about the people. It's just like a drug dealer. A drug dealer might be hurting 1,000 people by selling these dope. It might be mixed with fentanyl, all it want to be. But if it hit hard, he making money off it. He's going to sell it, and it might be killing the most people in the world, but it does not. It does not affect him, so he doesn't care because he's making money. At the end of the day, is you can look at a corporation just like a drug dealer. It can be a hard sale. Be tough. Might have killed somebody right after he sold it and know it killed. He'll sell it to the next person all the same. Because at the end of the day, his job is to make money.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you like this. Anything you can use this podcast for example, right? If this podcast ended up on everybody's the next song that comes up after they listen to or the next
When it
podcast
does,
that
when it
comes,
does.
when it comes up there, right?
Mhm.
Right? It won't just be because we make good content. That won't be the reason. At some point, somebody has to push the button to push it along to get somebody else to see it. So
Mhm.
it's about putting things in front of as many eyes as possible. And
I agree.
so, it's not always just, oh, people. This is what the people want. That's not true.
All right. Well, let me ask you this question right here. Do black people need to grow away from the hip hop culture?
What is the hip hop culture?
Anything involved with hip hop?
Need to stop listening to rap music?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Stop listening to rap music?
Yeah. Rap music, hip hop. When I think of hip hop music, let's say, what's the song that's in hip hop? If I type in hip hop right now, what's gonna pull up?
Hip hop music.
Uh-huh. I
Hmm.
tell I can't say, but my you play that junk. If you watch that movie, it's talking about I rap them. Most likely, I'm gonna. If you listen to the lyrics of this song, and this is where what I tell people the way I listen to a song. I tell people I listen to any music, long as the words I agree with. If I do not agree with the words that's said in that music, I do not care who's saying it. I do not care what's said if I do not agree with it. If you're talking about putting down our black women, I'm not listening to it. If you're talking about killing our black men, I'm not listening to it. If you're talking about anything that's destructive to society in any way, shape, or form, I am not listening to it. Because I do not push things that I do not agree with. If I do not agree with this thing, I'm not going to push it in any way. I don't want it to be in. I don't want to be nowhere near me. I don't
Okay.
agree with it.
Gotcha. Question: Did you
Yeah,
watch John Wick?
John Wick. Nah, I ain't watched John Wick. What the first one?
Any
I
of
watched
them?
the first one. I watched the first one. I ain't watched it in a while.
It's all the same, Corey. It's
Huh?
all the same.
It's all the
Don't let them
same.
tell you. It's all the same. Don't let them tell you nothing different. It's all the
Mm,
same. It's all entertainment.
mm.
It's
I would
all
agree with that.
entertainment. It's Game of Thrones. It's all
Mm.
entertainment. It's
You got a point.
all entertainment.
You got a point.
So,
And I would agree with that. I would agree with that. And there's certain things that I wouldn't watch. Like I don't watch them. Like what's the name of that? What's the name of that?
Poltergeist,
That's a
The
Well,
Exorcist
I
or
did.
something.
Man, come on, man. You try to. I don't watch that, but it's
Yeah.
not to be funny. I just don't. I find that stuff stupid. So
Mhm.
I don't got no problem with it. I mean, you can watch it to each his own. If you're up here, I'm not putting you down or nothing. That's if that's your flavor. But I'm talking about what's the show that came on HBO about the children having sex, man. 'Cause I'm big on pedophilia in
P
movies, man.
Valley. I don't
That's
know
P
that.
Valley. That's the name of it.
I
Nah.
don't know. That's what AD
It's
just
a
put
joint
up.
nah, it's it had an old girl that went with Spider Man. She was dating Spider Man. Start with an E, man. I forgot. I turned on the first one, man, and they had children up there, man. I was like, man, I'm not watching this, man. No, sir. I got put on by somebody. I told them not. Like even my anime, man. I watch anime. I'm a big anime fan, man. And I know people that shout out an anime to me, and I turn that joke on, and it's not my type of anime. And I'm saying it like kid anime because I don't want to see that crazy stuff, man. I don't want to see that mess, man. It's not me. It's not my type of top. It's not my mode, you know.
I don't know. My
Yeah.
answer, if I had to give you an answer, I'm gonna
Yeah.
say I don't know.
It's certain things that you won't watch, right? I'm pretty sure there's certain things that you
Yeah,
don't subscribe to, you not watching.
yeah.
Yeah. When some Zedalia, she got it right there. Euphoria. Yeah, that's it. Euphoria. Like I put Euphoria on and I was like, nah, nah, it ain't me. It ain't me. I can't say I did watch Game of Thrones though.
Yeah.
I did watch Game of
It's
Thrones.
balance there. It's all types of stuff. I
Yeah, but
mean,
my
like,
stuff has changed over time. When I started watching it, it changed over time. Like we progressed over time. We changed over time. That's the reason why I wouldn't be hard on anybody that watch Euphoria. To each his own, but it just wasn't for me.
yeah. I mean, you go down that slope of trying to differentiate what's art, what's not art, what's black culture, what's not black culture. Before long, you'll be sitting in your room reading the Bible 24 hours a day, and that's all you'll be able to do. I mean,
I don't think I ever watched Game of Thrones though and thought about grabbing a sword and riding a dragon and taking over the world. It just ain't something I prescribe to. But if I, I'm pretty sure what John Morant listened to.
yeah, I'm saying, but you also probably haven't. You also aren't thinking about leaving the shipyard and going to pick up a pack and breaking it down with me and us making millions. You're not
Yeah, I
thinking like
did
that.
though. I did. At one point in
I'm just
time,
I'm
there
just
was a
saying.
point in time I
At
did.
this point in time where we are right now,
Yeah.
when you ask me, do we
Yes,
need to
sir.
go away from it? It is really not a threat to you.
No, not me. Not me.
It's not a threat to you. And
You
if
don't
you're
think it's a
saying,
threat to anybody?
I mean,
I'm
if
sorry
you
for
want
cutting you off.
to, no, if you want to put parental advisories on it,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? Like if you want to put parental advisories,
I would be all for that. I would be all for that. But the problem is, I will continue to say this. We could put parental advisory on something. And I'll be wanting to tell y'all certain things, but I gotta hope. I gotta see. Well, I could say I started watching things that I wasn't supposed to watch at a young age, a very, very young age. My parents might didn't know it because somebody gave it to them. They don't know. Parental advisory only goes as far as the parents are prepared to censor it. At the end of the day, if you don't have any parents that's going to hold that thing, you just are fed this information. I'm pretty sure you protect your kids from the things they watch. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, you ain't gonna play that things in front of because you're gonna protect your children. So, at what age is a child old enough to understand hip hop,
yeah, yeah.
the
I mean,
dangers of hip hop? That's
I,
what I'm saying.
I think that hip hop is dying anyway. All right, so this is my personal belief. I believe
Mm.
that hip hop is dying. Everything goes through cycles, and hip hop has lasted a long time. It has beat the odds. But I'm telling you, sometimes when I listen to the music, like there's a few people trying to keep it alive, but it's way too many 35-year-old rappers out there. That's for sure. That's a
Mm.
good way. That's a good indication that the new school has not pushed out these 30-something-year-old rappers.
Mhm.
Like we're still checking for rappers that are plus 40. So that tells me that the industry is dying. And I
So,
don't know what's going to replace it. I don't know whether it's the peel behavior or whatever it is. I don't call this
mm.
stuff hip hop, but I do believe that is dying. I will say,
Let's deal hip hop is final blow.
like this is one thing that I'm gonna say. Like when you talk about certain things, like for
Mm.
some reason, I can speak for Tiffany. She tells me all the time that movie Bird Box. I think it was Bird Box.
Mhm.
She said she felt something in her spirit about it.
Mm.
Like she hates that movie. If we scroll about on Netflix and it shows up, like, like she moved past it fast. Like she really,
You
really
don't want
felt.
that joke on the TV.
Yeah, she said because she feels like it does something to her spirit. Now, for me, I didn't. I felt it was awkward, but as far as it, I don't know if it challenged my spirit as much as it challenged hers. But I do believe it's a thing. I do believe it's a thing.
Mhm.
Now, if people are listening to hip hop and having the same convictions that she's having, then yeah, I mean, they probably shouldn't listen to it.
It's more so to me with children. I think children, at the end of the day, as an adult, I think adults, I think everything has an appropriate age. Everything in life has an appropriate age for people. Just like it's appropriate age for drinking, it's appropriate age for watching. I mean, listening to hip hop to me or watching movies. That's the reason why they put grades on movies. I'm pretty sure you ain't gonna just play. That's the reason why you got PG-13, PG, and all these things. But They can put the ratings up there. If a parent doesn't put parental controls, then child just get anything. And I think that's probably the problem with music. Our kids are getting explicit and things of this nature because it ain't all it ain't it ain't always there. So
Yeah, and we at the 50 marks, man. Let's go through these comments, bro. They
man,
on
we
you.
got a lot of them. We got a
I
lot of
know it,
them.
man. I love it, man. I love it.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
now,
Let's start at the top, man. Let's start at the top. I like a lot of things. Our
uh,
predominant culture in American culture is a more American culture, but there is a black subculture. That's Mr. Warner.
okay.
Uh, American culture is not American black people culture. Tiffany said, American culture is not American black people culture. What is your heritage? Heritage, do you know? Do you know your heritage?
Mm. Court, we started talking about this. I don't know if you want to go down that rabbit hole, but we started talking about this before.
Mm. Where I come from?
Nah, see this.
I come from no Kakalaki.
Okay, all right.
No,
So,
man.
like, this is what I said to Corey, and I don't want to go down here real quick because I want to get these comments in. But I told
Mhm.
Corey, I said, um, for some reason, it's just been on my mind a lot. Like the whole, I don't know whether I watched something because I watch a lot of documentaries before I go to sleep. But the middle passage has really been on my mind for about 3 weeks now. And so I was thinking about the fact that if by all means it happened the way that they said it happened,
Mhm.
that these people came over shackled on a 3 week voyage with nothing but the clothes on their backs.
Mhm.
And then they got here and they were stripped of their names. They weren't allowed to read. Um, I mean, it's crazy to me that they were taking everything away, but the only thing they were given was religion,
Mm.
a specific religion. Like, I mean, you even took their names for God's sake, but they were given religion. And from there, that is the beginning of what, if black culture has an origin story, that is where it starts. That is the evil villain origin story. That it started with, you don't have a name, but this is Jesus.
I think that's a terrible way to look at it. I think that's a terrible way to look at it. We had this conversation going into it. I think that's the worst way to look at it. And I tell y'all the same thing I told
Culture
him.
origin
Right.
story.
The same way I told him. I said this right after he said that. I said, this is what I believe. At the end of the day, I believe if a person goes through life, they live their entire life. And at the end of that life, they could have gained 1,000 things. If they die without knowing Jesus, they have gained nothing. That is my belief.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, if you tell me I had to suffer my entire life from beginning to end, let's say if I was born, beat within an inch of my life up to now, if that was all for me to know Jesus Christ, I would do it 1,000 times. It is nothing more important in life than knowing Christ. If you do not know him, you need to get to know him. I will tell everybody that. And once you know him, you'll know a little different. I have a lot of different experience in my life, especially with white people. And I tell people this, I would agree about, I asked that question about when's the right time to teach children about race. I didn't learn about race much until I got into like high school. Because most people know me, a white woman took care of me and raised me on her farm because I was over there like every single day. And I didn't know race. I didn't know a thing of it. I ain't speak of it. And I grew up in the country in Como, North Carolina. I didn't have very many friends. So by the time I learned about race, it was very, very late in life. But that sways my opinion on this thing. I don't care about those things. I don't look into those things. I don't even watch race movies. Because if it affects me to a point where I feel like I'm gonna hate people or hate certain individuals, I'm not gonna subscribe to that. I'm about love. So if Christianity I don't think Christianity ever at the end of the day is a problem. Because you can
Yeah,
give a person a tool and do a lot of
that
things with it. I can give you a knife, you can kill with it, or you can make a soup, you can cut up some vegetables with it. There's a lot of things you can do with a knife. But I don't
yeah,
say knife is the evil thing.
Yeah, so this is what I'm saying because we back it to the wall. Like I don't say it to say that you need to. It's about going at white people or holding grudges or anything. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying
Mm.
is, it is a reason to understand that things that we associate as culture, like just throw it away. Like that whole like get to know a person. Like I hate the whole this is what a group of people think like, this is what they do. The whole term culture is manipulative and
Mm.
it's just not real. Like it's not real. Get to know that man, judge that man by the content of his character. Like if you think he's cool, let him be cool because he does cool things, not because he's part of a cool race or this or that.
I would agree with that. I'm gonna read
Yeah.
this last comment because I do like it. Tawana, when they read the Bible, that's when the pursuit of freedom started. White folks, by the way, it taught them to read. And
Yep.
have remember I said that earlier. At the end of the day,
And
they also taught us to read, man.
yeah, and before we close out, man, I'm gonna say like you were saying, when it comes to my family, my kids, my wife, I will not without a doubt I will lay my life down for them.
Mm.
However, I don't want them to feel good about it after it's done. That's and that's what we get there. I don't want them to feel good about it.
Mm.
Like understand it. I'm willing to do it because it's important to me, but don't
Mm.
feel good about it. Don't feel like everything is all good now because it's not.
Mm.
All right, man. With that being said, man, we gotta close this thing out, man. Hey, I want y'all to remember that tomorrow is our admin day, so don't be checking for us tomorrow. But we're gonna be here, ready to kick it on Thursday, man. Thank y'all for rocking with us, Corey. It's on you. It's 5:57.
Hey man, thank y'all for tuning in tonight, man. Thank y'all for bearing with us, man. Hey, and I did listen to a lot of the things that was brought up in the last episode, man. I canceled a lot of memberships and saved me some money, man. Hey, Hamp know all about it, man. Hey
How
man.
much you say? How much you say from the last episode? I'm telling you, y'all got to start rocking with us.
You got the calculation. I forgot what it was. What I tell you. I told you once you added it up.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was two. I remember so far annually. I got you was a 2,000, almost a $3,000 raise.
Yeah.
I got you a $3,000 raise just by checking
Cut a
your
lot of
stuff.
stuff off.
Just that conversation about checking your stuff,
Tiff, my
checking
wife
your
gonna have to
accounts.
text you about things to cook, man. We got a lot of food in here, man. We need to know what we need to do with it. We ain't get no turkey wings though, man. They ain't had those joints.
Hey,
I
but
ain't
look,
gonna buy it.
hey, if anybody in here needs $3,000, go ahead and watch the last episode. We'll tell you how to get it.
All
We'll
right.
tell you. Hey, but again, man, at that point, thank y'all so much. I am so gracious for you guys rocking with us. I do ask that you share with your friends, bring a friend, come along. But more important than you bringing a friend, just remember to love yours. That's the most important thing. And loving yours is such a broad statement that we never cover what yours is. But yours is everything that's in your domain. That's
Mm.
everything that's in your domain. Love it. We out. Peace.
See.